Hey guys, welcome to Motoroids. My name is Amit and this is the new Tata Nexon i-CNG with Revotron Turbo. You heard it right. This is the India's first turbo CNG car, and that makes it special. So what is special about it in terms of power, in terms of the way it drives, its fuel efficiency? We are going to tell you everything. So let's get started with it. Now, before we start talking about the engine itself, let's open the boot and see how Tata have used their twin cylinder technology to liberate a lot of boot space and make sure that you can use this car for your long trips as well. First things first,
the boot space on the Tata Nexon i-CNG is 321 liters, which is about 61 liters less than the standard version, but that's still quite a lot.
Which means that you can place two big suitcases here and stack a few haversacks on top of that. Go out with your family for a long holiday as well. You have these four hooks along with this illumination, and now it's time to lift the flap and see the twin cylinders, which by the way are 30 liters each and translate to a total kg capacity of 9 kg. Now the ARAI certified fuel efficiency of this car is 24 kilometers per kg, which means that with 9 kg of gas you would be able to go 216 kilometers. Now that fuel efficiency may not be achievable because that's the maximum, and we'll soon find out what the real world fuel efficiency of this car is. But technically speaking, if you go by the specs, it offers you a range of 216 kilometers based only on the ARAI numbers. An important thing to notice here is that you don't have a proper spare wheel. You have a Space Saver spare, which is very slim, but this would still limp you back to home in case you have a puncture. But I always like my cars to have a proper spare wheel, but that's okay. For the kind of storage space that you get, I think that compromise is manageable. But in case you need even more boot space, the good thing is that the seats are 60-40 split. So if there's only 3 of you traveling, you can drop down one of the parts of the seat and then you have even more space to put in your luggage. This is the 1.2 liter Revotron Turbo iCNG engine that runs on both petrol as well as CNG, and it comes with a lot of safety features as well. We are going to talk about that also. But what you need to remember is that while the petrol gives you 120 PS of power and 170 Newton meters of torque, in the CNG mode, while the power goes down to 100 PS at 5000 RPM, the torque remains the same at 170 Newton meters, and that translates into a lot of fun, especially for a CNG car. Let's get inside and talk about a few features of this new CNG technology and how Tata have tried to make it safe for you. Let's start by talking about the advantages that you get with the new iCNG Nexon. And the first of these is that you can start it directly in the CNG mode. And that's different from a lot of other cars which you have to start necessarily in the petrol mode. And this is made possible by the single ECU that allows you to switch seamlessly between the CNG and petrol mode. So as you can see right now, the car is in petrol and I press the CNG button here and this icon shows up, which means that the car is now indeed in the CNG mode. It also shows you how much of your driving has been in the CNG as well as the petrol modes. Not just that, the car automatically switches to the petrol mode as soon as the CNG levels go down so that you don't have to bother about it. This car also comes with the advantage where you don't have to change the entire fuel filter and you can just insert a new cartridge, which saves you money and saves the environment as well. Not just that, you can also fill this car up faster with the help of a new faster nozzle. Now let's also talk about the safety features associated with the iCNG tech. And first and foremost, this is a 5-star rated car, and not just the Nexon petrol, the iCNG is also a 5-star rated car, which means that the structure itself is meant to absorb energy and to make sure that all the occupants inside are safe. Second, as soon as the car detects that there is a leak, it switches automatically from CNG to petrol to prevent any untoward incident. Not just that, in order to ensure that there are no leakages, the iCNG kit itself has been made from special materials which are made to absorb very high temperatures and pressures. There is also a fire protection device under the co-passenger seat which can be used in emergency cases. If the fuel cap is not closed, the car will not start, and that again is a safety feature. Finally, in case there is a thermal incident where the temperatures rise above the ideal numbers, the car will automatically release all the gas into the atmosphere through a special valve so that there is absolutely no chance of an untoward incident. Now all of that is good, but how well does the car drive? Does it have the power? How much fuel efficiency does it deliver? Is the engine smooth? Let's find all of that out by taking this baby for a spin. Now, right off the bat, the first thing that you'll notice while driving the iCNG is that the noise level is definitely higher than what you would experience in a properly refined petrol car. But that's okay, it's a CNG. It's not supposed to be as smooth as a petrol. And as the revs climb near 3,500 RPM, the noise really increases. But the fun part is that after 3,500 RPM, that noise actually turns slightly sporty and I don't mind listening to it. But the good thing here is that really this car does not feel like a CNG. It has the punch and it really feels like a fun car to drive even in the CNG mode. And that's the biggest takeaway for me for this car. In none of the other CNG cars do I get this feeling. When you want to overtake briskly, you really have the power at hand and it really feels really nice. So apart from the noise, the performance from this CNG would really bring a smile on your face. Now I did a test of the tractability of this car also, and the numbers were really good. Even in the 6th gear, I was able to drive this car from 40 kilometers per hour onwards. In the 5th gear from 35, in the 4th gear from 30 kilometers per hour onwards, and in the 3rd gear you can drive it from as low as 20 kilometers per hour. So the tractability on this car, despite being a CNG, is pretty good. The noise is something that I don't quite like, but the performance is what I absolutely love. Now let's quickly also have a 0 to 100 run on this car and see how quick it is. So we are all set. The AC is off. Let's build some revs. And we are through. It feels quite brisk, not as much as the petrol, but for a CNG this is really good, I can tell you that. Now the next question obviously that you have is about the range, and that's one area where this car does not quite do as well as its rivals. You have the Brezza CNG as well as the Franck CNG as its primary rivals. And on this car, the fuel efficiency that we got was about 17 to 18 kilometers per kg, which is not bad, but it's not outstanding as well. And it was a mix of city and highway driving. On the highway, you'll probably get about 20, but it's still not going to match the 24 kilometers per kg fuel efficiency as claimed by Tata. But I don't mind that because that still is a very good fuel efficiency number for a car which is significantly more powerful than the rest of the cars in the segment. This is the only turbo. It has fantastic torque. And really, while you're driving this car, you do feel that you have a car that can keep up with the rest of the pack in terms of the cars which have petrol or diesel as their powertrains. It does not feel laggy, and the in-gear acceleration also is fantastic. Not just that, the pickup is also quite brisk. Now the one thing that could probably have been better is the play of the clutch. It's quite long, so while you're trying to engage the gear, for example right now I am on a traffic signal, and when you engage it, the play is quite long, and just when you are releasing the clutch, as you can see, to engage it, to find that exact spot can sometimes be a bit of a bother, so it turns into a bit of a jerky motion. If the play was not that much, if the travel was not that much, travel is the right word actually, it would have been slightly easier to engage it. Also, the gear shifts are not the slickest that I've come across. They are not notchy. I won't really say that they are bad, but they are not very good also. Like on some of the Hyundai or other Maruti cars, the gear shifts are really precise and really clicky. Here you have a little bit of rubberiness coming in, and they're easy. They are not very hard, but they are not the slickest as well. So the travel of the clutch and the transmission here is not the best. I'm not saying that the clutch is heavy. The clutch is quite light and it's not going to bother you, but that release action is not all that great. Apart from that, the engine starts spinning nicely at about 1000 RPM, from which point onwards you have some power coming in. I'm talking specifically about the CNG mode here. And it's really after 1500 RPM where the turbo starts properly spooling up and you start getting a sense of power. And from that point onwards, the car starts building power in a very progressive kind of a manner. It is a turbo, but it's actually at about 3000 RPM, 3500 RPM, where you get the kick coming in, where the torque really kicks in. And at that point, you really feel like you're driving a fast car. Not a really enthralling car, but a fast car for a CNG. And as you can see, I am in the first gear right now. It revs all the way to 5,500 RPM. And after 3,500 RPM, as I mentioned, the car is quite on song. What you hear right now is noise, but it's not too bad because there is also that 3-cylinder burble to it. Not too bad. But there is a distinct kick after 3,500 RPM. And this car starts sprinting, and it really comes into its own after 4,000 RPM. It's quite an exciting car for a CNG. I mean, generally the CNG cars are quite dead, but this one feels relatively alive. And if you're looking for a car which is primarily powerful, not as fuel efficient as some of its rivals, this is a good car to go for. If you want some excitement, a reasonable amount of range, although the refinement is not there, the efficiency is not as good as its rivals, but what it really has is power and torque. And if you are someone who likes his cars to have at least some torque in the mid revs, then this is the car to go for. NVH levels are not the best. Ambient noise is reasonably well cut, but you will hear a lot of engine noise coming inside the cabin. It's not a quiet engine at all, so that noise is always going to come in. The suspension at slow speeds is slightly firm, and it really gets a lot better as you pick up speed. So on the highways, it feels a lot better. The steering is rather vague. It's not one of the most responsive of the steering wheels. There is a reasonable amount of body roll also, as has always been the case with the Nexon. So it's not a driver's car per se, but it has decent road manners, reasonably comfortable. Not one of the most poised cars, I would say. Not the most comfortable, not the best handling. The steering feedback is also not the best, but it's kind of a jack of all trades and just goes about its job. So it's not going to be bothering you, but it's not the most sorted of the chassis and suspensions. Overall, a good, powerful car, not the most fuel efficient. Finally, the real world range. So if you're on the highway with 20 kilometers to the kg with 9 kg of fuel tank, you'll get 180 kilometers of range, which is not very high, but it's not very low also, and you always have the option of switching to petrol. Within the city, you'll get a range of about 150, 155 kilometers, which again is slightly less than that, but it still is a good range for people who have a CNG station in the vicinity. So that's the real world range that you'll get on this car. Not bad again, but the fuel efficiency on some other CNG cars is considerably better. Now, as far as the exteriors go, this car is exactly like the petrol Nexon. There are very few changes, and you get the DRLs, the swipe out blinkers, you get the LED projector lamps, the LED cornering fog lamps, you get a front parking sensor, you get the 360-degree camera, all of the fantastic features that you have on the petrol Nexon, and the very flamboyant design is present here as well. The dimensions are also shared, and coming towards the side, you get the exact same 16-inch wheels, where you have a 215 section tire for the higher variants and 195 section tire for the lower variant. The ground clearance is 208 mm, and you get as many as 7 color options to choose from. All the color options on this car can be seen on the screen right now. You get the same beautiful panoramic sunroof. You also get two-tone colors, shark fin antenna. You get a proximity sensor. Door handles are not flush fitting, but I'm happy because I find these door handles more robust. Coming towards the rear, again you get swipe out blinkers, connected tail lamp, and the only real difference over the petrol Nexon is this iCNG branding that you get here. Of course, you have the rear part of the 360-degree camera here, and also you have the 360-degree camera units on the ORVMs as well. Time now to get inside and see what are the features that you get over the Nexon petrol and what are the ones that you miss. Now, if you are interested in knowing which features you get in a specific variant, you can see all the variants on the screen right now, and you can pause the screen and see which specific variants get you what features. Let's see the interiors also. First things first, you get an all black interior with high quality Benek calico upholstery, and the touch and feel of this upholstery is really nice. It's perforated and finished in a slightly contrasting color. It's not exactly contrasting, but it looks very nice and rich. Getting inside is really easy, and as you can see, only the driver's side window is one touch down. I have a bit of a problem with the finishing here. A few things could have been finished a little bit better. Other cars in the segment generally offer slightly better fit and finish as compared to the Tata Nexon, but they are getting better, and the interior, by the looks of it, looks very nice. Get inside and you'll see that the seat here is not electrically adjustable, although it's adjustable for the seat height. You also get ventilated seats, and the familiar Tata steering wheel is adjustable for height but not for reach. Now you won't be able to see any differences over the petrol in the CNG except for this one little button that I showed you earlier also, and press this button and the car will change the mode to CNG. And the only difference that you'll see on the instrument console is that you'll get this mode ratio where you'll be able to see how many kilometers or how much distance you have driven in the CNG mode as compared to the petrol mode. Also, this is your CNG fuel gauge, and here on the right is your petrol fuel gauge. You get all the good features that you get on the Tata Nexon except for ADAS. The ADAS is one feature that you won't get here. You get blind spot recognition, and as soon as you turn the indicator on, you'll be able to see what's happening in your blind spot. You get this beautiful panoramic sunroof which you can open with voice commands as well, just like in Tata Nexon petrol. And you get this wireless charger here. You get this armrest with quite a lot of space inside. As you can see, it goes right below the wireless charger as well, so you actually have a lot of space. You get automatic AC, and the audio system here is by Harman, 8 speaker, superb sounding system. The seats are very nice, and the thigh support and the cushioning, etc., the bolstering, all of that is fantastic. The fit and finish could have been slightly better, but I'm not complaining because it's getting better with time with Tata. This 10.25-inch infotainment screen and the 10.25-inch instrument console also is quite nice, and it's very responsive to touch. It also comes with a very nice 360-degree camera that we have seen on the Tata Nexon petrol as well. The resolution is very high. You can see everything around you in the 3D mode as well. We have seen this, so I'm not going to delve deeper into this, but it's one of the best cameras out there. The sound quality is fantastic. You get wireless Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. You get an air purifier. Also, you get all the climate functions on this screen and can be controlled via the soft buttons right here. Since this is a very familiar unit, I'm not going to talk much about it. You have all the controls for AC. You have the express cooling button here, and you can release the boot from here. You have one type A and one type C fast charger here, and you have a 12-volt power socket. This car, as I mentioned, comes with a 6-speed manual transmission. There is no AMT here. This is the only transmission you'll get with this car. You get a manual handbrake.
The standard Nexon comes with drive modes. The iCNG version does not have that feature, and that's the reason why, where you have the drive selector dial, you now have this little crevice where you can store the key of your car.
And as is the case with most of the Tata cars, they are very safe. This is a 5-star rated car, so all the safety features are present. Let's also have a look at the cooled glove box. It's very big. As you can see, we have filled it up with a lot of snacks, etc. So you can really load it up with a lot of stuff, and it's one of the most practical glove boxes that you'll come across. There's a lot of space in the door panel also, and big water bottles can go in very easily. Generally, storage spaces is not a problem with this car, and it's time now to go and see what the back seat feels like. Nothing new to talk about here either, and as you can see, there is a space for a 1-liter water bottle. Getting inside is very easy. There is plenty of knee room. Headroom is also decent. I mean, as long as you are not taller than 6 feet, it should not be a problem. Seats are 60-40 split. You have twin cup holders, an armrest, an AC vent, one type A and one type C socket. You have ISOFIX child seat mounts, a proper 3-point seat belt. The front seat belt is also manually adjustable. You can adjust it for height. You have these retractable handles, coat hooks, quite a few of them. You have one here, one there, there is one here as well. And seats are generally very comfortable. There is no third headrest, and I also miss the fact that these seats don't recline, but generally speaking, these seats are quite comfortable. And just as is the case with the Tata Nexon, the back seats here are quite comfortable. Now, in terms of warranty, you get 3 years and 1 lakh kilometers of warranty with the Tata Nexon i-CNG, and you also get 1 year of IRA subscription free with this car. That said, there are two primary competitors of this car. One is the Brezza CNG and the second one is the Bronx CNG. How well does it stack up against those cars? Let's first have a look at the dimensions and everything else. And as you would see, this car has an advantage in terms of the overall dimensions. The pricing also, the starting range is lower than the other cars, but the top end variant, as you would see, is priced higher. Now you need to understand that this is the only car with a turbo in its segment, and the way it performs is very evident. It does not quite feel like a CNG and feels more like a petrol. So if you're someone who's looking for a car that gives you performance, this definitely is the pick of the lot. Also, if you want something which is loaded to the gills with features, this again is the car to go for. However, if you want a car that delivers you the most amount of fuel efficiency, which generally is the reason why people buy the CNG cars, then the Brezza and the Bronx have an advantage, as the real world fuel efficiency of those cars is slightly better than the Tata Nexon iCNG. So if you want no compromises in terms of power, performance, features, etc., this is the car to go for. But if you want slightly better fuel efficiency, then you can look at other options also. I really hope I was able to answer all your questions about this fantastic new option from Tata Motors. Still, you have any further questions, put them down in the comment section. I'll be very happy to answer them personally, or one of my team members will provide the answer. If you like such long format detailed videos, do give us a like, do share some love, do share this video with your friends who might be looking for a CNG car. Do not forget to subscribe to Motoroids, and until next time, this is your friend Amit Changani signing off. Rev hard, rev free, and drive safe.